This is me. This is my beloved wife, Sylvia. This is Sylvia's idea of sailing. This is my dream of sailing and my hope of circumnavigating the globe as a retirement project in 2029. This is Sylvia's reaction to that idea. I am on a 6-year quest to convince Sylvia that a circumnavigation is a wonderful adventure, but the clock is ticking, so join me as I search for the perfect yacht that Sylvia will love, and get all your ladies to subscribe and cheer Sylvia on in the comments. Welcome back to Naval Gazing at Camp David. This week's guest yacht is arguably the most popular model of the builder's line, and over the years, perhaps the most popular unit in the size segment of all time, the Lagoon 46. Today, we are going to review its specifications, pricing, and layout against 3 similar new vessels, do a full tour asking what would Sylvia say, naval gaze at an innovation and or adjustment that might make life aboard just a little bit easier, have a look at the used market for 3 to 5 year old pre-owned comparables, and finally, give it a Dave score and compare the result with all the previously reviewed yachts. All this fun will be sandwiched between a wine pairing from the same region as the guest yacht and a look at a favorite sample of art from the region. Yachts, waves, ideas, and art. What a civilized way to spend 30 minutes. Let's get going. Starting high above Vancouver, Canada, we fly west across the Atlantic to France's western shore and the home of our last tour, the Fountain Peugeot Astera 42 near La Rochelle. From here, we head south to the yards of Lagoon Catamaran and the Lagoon 46. Finally, we fly just a little inland to this week's wine pairing at Saint Christophe de Bardes, just 5 kilometers away from the historic village of Saint-Emilion. Our wine is Faux Chateau de Combe Saint-Emilion Grand Cru Red Blend 2017. Perched in one of the many hills that make up the Bordeaux wine-growing landscape, this medieval town needs no introduction. Its wine-growing landscapes were the first in the world to be listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its prestigious appellation acres covers 7,500 hectares of very different soil types and terroirs. The diversity and abundance of its wines make up an infinitely nuanced picture that is one of the main masterpieces of a region that has so many great vineyards. Saint-Emilion, Grand Cru, Lussac Saint-Emilion, and Puissant Saint-Emilion, 4 AOCs, and so many words that describe the delight of the senses, unique circumstances, and the sharing are unforgettable memories for so many people. Faux Chateau de Combes is located in Saint Christophe de Bardes, just 5 kilometers away from the historic village of Saint-Emilion. Its name suggests some wine was produced here in the 17th century when the Benedictine Abbey was built and vines were planted, scattered around the buildings, growing on little hills and valleys known as combes. The chateau today is surrounded by vineyards, copses, trees, and half-hectare pond. It is kept the calm dignity of the spot for quiet contemplation is perfect for making Saint-Emilion Grand Cru of the highest quality. A complex and powerful nose, fruity and spicy due to red fruits and Morello cherry aromas, well-balanced and sophisticated palate with silky fruit flavors of Cassis and Damson. Oak notes and presented without overshadowing the fruit, lending spice, cedar, and a touch of vanilla to the long and persistent finish. Pairs with red and white meat, roasted vegetables, and soft cheeses. It consists of 60% Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon is 30%, and Cabernet Franc is 10%. Really nice. You're going to enjoy that. Let's go have a look at that boat. Cheers. Looking at the 46, she is an attractive vessel in her own way. Obviously a little hefty, the weight is there and the width, but that all leads to the immense luxury that you feel within. Great rear cockpit, wonderful faux front cockpit, terrific sort of a bit of a faux fly lounge bridge area, but she's an attractive vessel with those nice sun skylights, and then a great front faux cockpit that you can cover up there with a nice shade, lending massive space for recreation. As we slip into the numbers themselves in the profile, you can see here that we're comparing to the FP Elba 45, the Lagoon 46, the Leopard 45, and the Neil 43. Heading onto the cabin top, here you can see the Elba has a very nice real fly bridge. Well, not fly, it's got a mid-helm with a fly lounge. Nice faux front cockpit, and good side decks. The hulls appear to be a little narrower than the Lagoon, but we'll see that in the numbers at the end. The Lagoon, quite a hefty girl, wide hulls, but you'll see why once we get in the interior. A bit of a faux fly lounge, mostly lie down or tilt up. The Leopard, looking surprisingly narrow here. Fantastic fly lounge, mid-helm, and you can see that terrific skylight that goes all the way down the sort of the port side of the cabin, and is extended in a nice artistic touch on the bimini underlay. Going to the Neil, of course, significant breadth on this girl, and lots of space on the aft cockpit. You've got significant space inside that we'll see, large trampolines, not much as far as the forward cockpit area goes. As we head down inside the cabins, you can see the amount of space that the Lagoon has here. You've got that full L-shaped lounge with a wide piano bench seat on the starboard side eating area. The galley on the port side aft. And then you've got quite a bit of open space there. Very large aft cockpit, looks to be the largest of the bunch. The Elba certainly appears to have a very similar sized, if not a little larger in square footage, main saloon. The saloon is extremely well laid out and feels larger than it is. It's a very nice space on this. A little smaller aft cockpit, similar sized front faux cockpit. The Leopard, again, it's a nice feel inside with the I guess the granite style countertops. A lot of nice indirect lighting in there. The space is uniquely laid out. I'm not a big fan of the way their eating area is set up, because it just feels like I'm always sitting at the kitchen table. I'd rather it could drop down into an honest coffee table and maybe drop that midsection L bench they've got there. However, you've got the front cockpit, and we all know I love that front cockpit. It is outstanding. The aft cockpit also is enormous, and the great thing about the Leopard and the FP and the Neil versus the Lagoon is that it is a mid-level helm. So you have full contact with the fly lounge and the cockpit, and probably most of the saloon. The Neil, it looks massive, but again, remember that your owner's cabin is on the main level, taking up a grand chunk of that. The Neil 43 is just way too small for me in the trimaran. I probably wouldn't or couldn't look at anything under the new 52. And I sort of wish they had a 58 in between that and the ginormous aircraft carrier that is the 65. Okay, now heading then into the cabins themselves, this is where the Lagoon shines. Look at the breadth of those hulls and those cabins. Although, honestly, the FP, although it didn't look as wide from the deck, looks to be almost the same size in width here. But I have, in the master suite of the Lagoon 46, it really does feel quite spacious. Really not a lot different than, say, the 50 or new 51. Love the full owner's hull. It's extremely comfortable. The bathroom, they put a little swirl into the Corian to make it look marbleish. It really, really does look nice. The Elba, probably my next favorite. It's not quite as soft and comfortable as the Lagoon can be. The Leopard, I do like the Leopard, but it feels a little more cramped. You can see that those hulls are a little narrower, and they don't use soft corners. They use very harsh, sort of modernistic, angular shapes within the hull, which isn't my fave. The Neil 43, of course, in the hull's very, very, very tiny. Moving to the numbers themselves. As we go along the top line, you can see that the Lagoon is not the most expensive. The highest here is the Leopard 45 at 723,000 euro. Then you've got the Fountain Peugeot at 624 euro, and then the Lagoon at 623 euro. Of course, the Neil 43, being quite a lot smaller, is at 330,000 euro. Sail away, as you know, I've done detailed price list analysis on probably 50 different yachts, and I can say that 90% of the time, the sail away, once I'm said and done optioning it out, is 50% on top. It's between sort of, I guess the lowest would be 30%, the highest 55% that I've seen, but in general, to be safe, I add 50% for a sail away. So our sail away on the Lagoon, we're looking at about 1.25 million. So 1,256,000 versus 1,457,000 on the Leopard and 1,257,000 on the Fountain. Looking at the actual dimensions length overall, the Lagoon 46 is the longest at 45.9 feet. With the Leopard at 45 and the Fountain at 44, the Neil at 43 exactly. The beam, again, on the Lagoon is the widest at 26.1 versus 24.8 on the Fountain and 24.1 on the Leopard. Of course, you've got 24.5 on the 43 Neil. Upwind sail area. Here we've got the Fountain Peugeot sitting on top of the pile at 124 square meters. Next one down there is the Lagoon at 123, and then the Leopard at 120, and the Neil 43 at 101. Horsepower driving these things, the Lagoon is the highest at 57, with a couple at 50, and the Leopard at 45. Tankage, the Lagoon on the fuel is the highest at 1,040 liters. The next one would be the Leopard at 700 liters. Freshwater, it's the Leopard at 780, followed by the Fountain at 700 and the Lagoon at 600, as well as the Neil at 600. Not a lot to worry about there. Okay, getting into the hull construction. We're looking at the Lagoon with polyester and high quality anti-osmotic resin. I'm assuming that would be vinyl ester on the outside. Hull and deck laminated by infusion, but it's a balsa core hull, solid laminate under the waterline with a balsa core above the waterline and on the decks. So then your Fountain Peugeot, it has, again, pure foam core. So they have a mixture of polyester and vinyl ester over glass. And then the Leopard 45, I have been told repeatedly by the manufacturer they no longer use a balsa core on the Leopard. Maybe on the upper decks, but nowhere in the hull. They're using foam. So I know that there is talk about end grain balsa in the Leopards, but I was told by Daniel a couple of times that they're no longer using balsa core, they're using foam core. The Neil, however, looks to be the strongest hull. You've got polyester and vinyl ester resin infusion, molding on close cell PET foam core with quadraxle fiberglass skin reinforced with carbon fiber. And I'm not sure if you're a little surprised at that, but I am. Now, let's get into the ratios. So, sail area to displacement, or power. The Neil has it at 23.93. The next one is the Fountain Peugeot, which isn't surprising to me because I see this over and over across the fountains. Among the production yachts, they seem to have the best sail area over displacement figures. So 23.17. The next closest is the Leopard at 20.25, and the Lagoon is lagging at 19.87 due to her girth. The next one, displacement over hull length at the waterline. So this is heaviness. So the leader here among the three catamarans is again the Fountain Peugeot at 151.86. The next one, surprisingly, is a Lagoon at 170.36, and the heaviest girl here is the Leopard at 185.74. So of the bunch, it would look like our Fountain Peugeot would win in the race. Okay, hopping aboard. What would Sylvia say? So you've got a really nice aft cockpit. You've got a lovely tender lift there that turns into a swim platform. A nice, solid teak table there. You could throw a nice high gloss onto that. It would look spectacular. Beautiful finish on the underside of the cockpit canopy, inset lights, zip-ups for your full enclosure. It looks really good. And there is your fly lounge with a full hardtop. You've got cup holders aplenty here. The fold-out table, nice teak decking, nice external kitchen. Again, cup holders there. Look at the little marble-esque detail in the countertops. Nice fiddles on the counters as you move into the galley. And look at the rounded corners. Love the rounded corners. Lots of indirect lighting, which really looks classy. The other thing I love that Lagoon does, their upholstery looks so freaking comfortable. And they use that nice piping, which looks so elegant. So I really like what they've done in here, and they offset it with a bunch of very nice high gloss stainless. You've got your 4-burner there with your pot holders, your oven. You can basically outfit this any way you like. Again, the countertops look very elegant. They have a semi-forward facing nav station. Nicely executed. It's got the typical stool there that you can use to pop your feet up on if you want to in other areas. The compression post for the mast is there, but it's not obtrusive. Heading down into the port side cabins. Down we go, and looking aft, you have the first guest area, the VIP suite. Looks very nice. Nothing wrong with that one at all. A nice little area there for books and bookshelf. I prefer no open shelves myself. The hardware is very nice. Ceilings, inset lighting, LED, very nice. Every corner is rounded. And you've got an electric flush toilet there. Again, the nice effect of the marble-esque flooring, a countertop that they've done in the shower area as well. It looks really, really good. Heading to the port side forward cabin, lots of indirect lighting, lots of big windows, nice upholstered inner hull areas, wall areas. There's no exposed fiberglass. It looks very, very classy. The wood, it's a fake wood, but it looks good. Again, you've got another full head here with it's a dry head with a complete shower. Very spacious. You can see you've got lots of ventilation, overhead hatches, in window hull hatches. Coming back up, and we'll just head across. You had a quick peek of the fridge in the cockpit area there. Heading down the stairs here, you're met with a lovely little settee. Now, I know you're not probably going to use those a lot, and most people would say they're a waste of space, but I think it gives an ambiance of elegance. Moving into the head, again, full electric head, separate head compartment from the shower, which is really nice. Heading into the main bathroom area, this is really gorgeous. Again, there are touches of chrome, brushed aluminum, the actual polished handles on all the doors, and the marblish countertop really does look good. And the addition of that countertop material, the Corian, into the shower floor really does make an impact. You've got lots of space there for the pharmacy that's going to be set out once wifey gets in there. And again, nice big shower. And you can see heading back this owner's side hull, just that sense of space and comfort. You can get snap-in carpet here that just makes it feel absolutely luxurious. And I do like this settee, if for nothing else but just getting dressed. You've got magazine racks on the door that slides to give you full privacy. You've got bedside lights. You have nice upholstered surround on the bed, and you have enough space on either side of the bed to get all the way up to the top for easy making of the bed. Sylvia looked at this and felt it was very narrow, which surprised me, but of course she's looking at houses and I'm looking at boats. Overall, from a boat lover's perspective, there's massive space around that bed. It's not an athwartship, but wow, it's nicely done. Huge kitchen sink there, really like it. And your feeling of space and openness with the indirect lighting everywhere is outstanding. Now, let's get into a little navel gazing. So this is what we're faced with on installations of solar panels. They get uglier as they go. And I know everybody's trying to do these lovely installations and make them look good, but they just don't. Solar is almost an eyesore, save for what is happening on the FP51 and now the, I guess the Lagoon 51 and 55 have the integrated solar. But if you are retrofitting, do you have to go with black solar panels hung out over the back, looking butt ugly, or slapped on the hull? Actually, no, you don't. Soloban has, right now, invisible solar systems with pigment, a pigment front sheet that is customizable. And you can see some of the pigments that you can get here. You can get teak, you can get white, you can get any number of various pigments, and they're all in non-slip. Then, in addition, with little loss of power, this allows you to hide the cells and create solar systems that look like teak decks, company logos, or textile services. The surface mounting for these is outstanding. For an invisible electric connection, 2 silicon insulated cables and a plastic cable gland are placed on the rear of the panel, clearly showing the electrical polarity and ensuring good contact. An alternative to the junction box, particularly suitable for the structural integration with adhesive. So this gets rid of all those ugly hanging over solar panels all over the place. You might pay for it a little bit in efficiency, but gosh, the aesthetics would be outstanding. Back on board. So now we are heading up to the fly bridge and fly lounge. Just a quick gander about here. You can see that you've got that lovely full hard top, and you can zip on a full enclosure there as well. The large line bags to keep the spaghetti out of the way, comfortable helm position. They could have done way more with this fly lounge. They're the only ones who kind of cheated here by just slapping out flat cushions that kind of tilt up. It's a lazy man's fly lounge versus just about everybody else's. And of course, they've corrected this issue on the new 51. But, you know, it could be argued that it's quite comfortable. You have pretty good visibility. You're going to have rear cameras. You got no visibility of your aft sections here without really stretching yourself out either side. Obviously, you got great forward visibility, but you're going to need to integrate some rear cameras. Coming down the starboard side deck, you have great handholds all the way along there. Another quick peek there at the helm. You've also got ladders up onto that hard top, which allows you then good access to your boom and lazy bag. Now, would I want to be up that high in a heavy sea? No freaking way. But they've done a decent job for what they're trying to achieve. Again, love this aft dinghy platform, and turns into a lovely swim platform. Okay, moving on to pre-owned comparables. Our first one is the Fountain Peugeot Sayona 47. It's a 2020, so we're looking at a 2-year-old boat. You're looking at $1,075,000 versus the sail away on our Lagoon at 1.256. I'd probably go with the Sayona on this one. I really do like the way the Sayona works. I like the access to the beds, even though they're fore aft. They got great access around them. The Saloon offers an ability to have simply a coffee table instead of crowding everything with a giant dinner table. So I feel like I don't have to sit at the dinner table all the time. I could just eat out at the table in the cockpit if necessary. So I'm afraid I'd give it to the Sayona. Next, we're looking at a Nautilus Open 46. So this is the one that does not have the flybridge. This is an 018, so we're looking at a 4-year-old boat. They're looking 1.1 million versus a brand new Lagoon at 1.256. This would be a tough choice. I love the Nautilus finish. It is definitely a cut above. I'm not a massive fan of their Saloon layout, and some of the older models I understood didn't have baffles in the fuel tank, and it just drove some of the owners nuts. It would be a tough choice. I'd probably lean towards, with only $100,000 difference, I'd lean towards the Lagoon on this one. Looking then at a comparable Lagoon 46, a 2021, we're looking at a 1-year-old boat. We're looking at $1.1 million. I'd go with the 1-year-old boat at $1.1 million. Probably got additional $100,000 worth of toys on there. Now let's jump into monohulls. I know this is sacrilege, but I add about 20% to the length to give a comparable monohull comparison. So the first one we're looking at is a 2-year-old Hansa 588. You're looking at $627,000 versus 1.256. This has a hard top. It has a dinghy garage. If I could get Sylvia used to the heeling, it'd be the Hansa. Next was the ML 55 017. So we're looking at like a 5-year-old boat here. It's 57 foot. You're looking at $1 million. I love the ML. I love the 55. I love the rig setup. I love the way they've powered everything. It is an older boat, and I don't know. It'd be a real toss-up on this one for me. Then the last one we're looking at here is the Dufour 56. It's an 018, 4-year-old boat, 700. I am not a giant fan of the Dufour 56. To me, it just feels too RV-ish. So I'd go with the Lagoon. Okay, now on to the Dave score. So what do we have for you today? Well, when we look at the numbers here, you can see that the Lagoon 46 on interior elegance rated a 7. Well, I think that's fair. The upholstery, their touches of leather, it's nice. The exterior, a 6. It's a little guppy-ish. The interior, and it has a faux front cockpit and really a faux fly lounge, so yeah. Interior comfort, 7, and exterior comfort, definitely a 7. It has a lot of living space, a lot of areas, really nice. Quality, definitely a 7. Lagoon builds a nice product. Performance, a 6, probably a 5. Lazy Sailor, a 7. Everything leads back to that nice helm area up top. Condo, a 7. This feels like a small condo. It's really nice. And value for the money, I'd give it a 7. I mean, at 1.25, it's a good value for money. Into art of the region. Le Havre, the outer harbor at sunset. Painted in 1882. Oil on canvas, post-impressionism. So Eugene Louis Baudin was born on the 12th of July, 1824. He was one of the first French landscape painters to paint outdoors. Bodin was a marine painter and expert in the rendering of all that goes upon the sea and along its shores. Born at Honfleur, Bodin was the son of a harbor pilot, and at the age of 10, the young boy worked on a steamboat that ran between Le Havre and Honfleur. In 1835, the family moved to Le Havre, where Bodin's father opened a store for stationery and picture frames. Here, the young Eugene worked, later opening his own small shop. Bodin's father had thus abandoned seafaring, and his son gave it up too, having no real vocation for it, though he preserved to his last days much of the sailor's character: frankness, accessibility, and open-heartedness. In 1857-58, Bodin befriended the young Claude Monet, then only 18, and persuaded him to give up his teenage caricature drawings and to become a landscape painter, helping to instill in him a love of bright hues and the play of light on water, later evident in Monet's Impressionist paintings. The two remained lifelong friends, and Monet later paid tribute to Bodin's earlier influence. Bodin joined Monet and his young friends in the first Impressionist exhibition in 1873, but never considered himself a radical or innovator. Well, there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed this week, the wine, the painting, and of course, most of all, the Lagoon 46. Join me next week as we look at another tremendous opportunity to convince Sylvia to join me on that circumnavigation. Have a great week.